Hey fellas, it's Snorkel MMA here for a breakdown of one of the cards of the year. So Rose Namajunas versus fucking Tracy Cortez. Nail-biting action. So I'm going to have timestamps in the video if you want to skip the prelims, skip to the main event, or skip to any fights, just go around fights you want to hear my picks for. Starting off the card with Monetel Jackson versus Blackshear. Monetel Jackson's coming in as the minus 150 favourite. So both fighters haven't fought in a while. Damon's been out for almost a year, and Monetel has been out for almost a year and a half, so long-ass layoff for that guy. Damon, I don't know if you guys remember, he was like riding hype when he did that crazy-ass twister in his first fight, and then I'm pretty sure he took a really quick fight against Mario Batista, who's like a really legit guy. Lost to him in a decision where like he lasted the whole time, was pretty competitive, and I think Mario Batista is actually really elite, so I give him points for that. Maybe he had like a bit of a confidence problem after his loss, because he didn't fight for a year. I don't know, speculation. And I think Monetel Jackson hasn't really beaten anyone. He's just fought subcard competition with that Yaya, that old-ass guy that just spams just tries to submit people. He has, like, no striking. And JP Byers, who is shit. So I'm going Damon Blackshear by submission. He's got 9 career submissions. And, all he has to do is deal with Monetel Jackson's power early. And if he gets through that, I think he'll submit him. I think he might have a tough round 1. Monetel Jackson might come out tired round 2. And he'll take him down and submit him. Moving on to Josh Fremd versus Andre Petroski. So Fremd is the minus 125 favourite coming in. Both are coming off losses. Both are coming off 2 losses. Both have fought good competition, with Petroski losing to Michel Pereira before he went up. And Fremd losing to Roman Kopylov, who is legit. Like, I think Kopylov's a little bit overhyped, but he is definitely legit striker. And all of those losses, both got KO'd. Petroski got KO'd twice in a row at the start of round 1, and he got KO'd once at the start of round 1, and then once right at the start of round 2. So it's like really early KOs for frickin' Petroski back to back. So to me, this seems like a bit of a coin toss. Pretty much is. Fremd's only minus 125, so I'm going to go with Fremd because it seems like a coin toss, but I think the odds are right, because Petroski coming off 2 fast KOs. I think he's going to be skittish. And that Fremd will have the mental advantage. I think he'll TKO him. I think he'll knock him down and then finish him on the ground. Ground and pound, round 2. Moving on to Luana Santos versus Mariya Agapova. I'm not going to lie. I've seen that Luana Santos twerking video on X. That shit was very good, so I'm going for her. Nah, jokes. And I remember a few of Agapova's fights. It's very, unimpressive. I think she's only lost, right? I'm pretty sure she's only lost in the UFC. So, yes, Santos is coming in as the minus 275 favourite. Santos is in a 4-fight win streak, and Agapova's on a 2-fight loss streak. Agapova hasn't fought in MMA in almost 2 years. Santos has been fighting very regularly since she debuted in the UFC, and even before that. I also saw a thing on Twitter, and I also saw MMA Guru's prediction video, and he saw the same thing, I guess, where apparently Agapova's like a freaking like a drug addict junkie that uses all of her fight wins and all of her money on just ketamine and fucking slots and some shit. So that's probably not a good sign. The only downside I see for Santos is she missed weight in her last fight against Stephanie Egger. Shout out Robert Eggers, by the way. Besides that, I don't see any advantage for Agapova, and if the drug rumors are true, she's pretty cooked, so I'm going to go for Santos by decision, because WMMA, Santos is much better, but it doesn't really matter, because it doesn't matter how much better they are, they're just going to fucking not finish, so I could see Santos subbing Agapova, but I wouldn't risk it. If you're going to put money on it, I'd just go by decision, because Santos very rarely finishes as well. Moving on to another WMA fight. I'm not a WMA hater, by the way. I think the main event's actually good. I think there is really good WMA fights, Zhang Wei Li, there are definitely good WMA fighters, a lot, 5. But then there's also like fucking 30 shit ones. But I'm not a WMA hater, by the way. Okay, so Jasmine Jasudavicius versus Fatima Kline. Fatima's coming in as the minus 130 favorite. Fatima undefeated, making her UFC debut. She was a champion in CFFC, which I think is just some random ass New Jersey org, like a really small New Jersey org, so it doesn't really mean much. I've seen tons of people come in as like a champion of a different org and they just go on like a 4-fight loss streak and get cut, so it doesn't really mean that much. So Jasmine Jasudavicius beat Priscilla Cahuaria. I do know, I have seen her fight in Canada, and you know, Cahuaria is pretty decent. Like, I think she was a pretty decent, like, for WMMA, she's pretty decent. And Fatima Kline hasn't really beaten anyone, so I don't know why she's the favorite. Like, she's not a heavy favorite, but it's just kind of weird. So I'm going to go Jasmine Jasudavicius. Fatima's debuting. I think people are putting a lot of stock in her being like a random ass small New Jersey org champ, so I don't really put any weight into that. So I think Jasmine by decision, because it is WMMA. Moving on to Joshua Van versus Charles Johnson. I'm a Van. Damn, I'm a fan of Joshua Van. I'm a fan of Van. So Joshua Van, yeah, he's pretty good. And Joshua Van's coming in as the minus 190 favorite. Joshua Van has had 4 cancelled UFC fights in a row. 4 cancels back to back. Yeah, I think he was gonna fight. He was gonna fight that Japanese guy that beat the Mexican guy, Tetsuo Taira. He was gonna fight Tetsuo Taira, but he got cancelled, and then Tetsuo Taira filled in for, I can't remember who the fuck dropped out. So yeah, so Van's undefeated in the UFC, whereas Johnson has got a 50% win rate, 5 wins, 5 losses. I think he's been in the UFC for fucking ages too, like 8 years at least. So Johnson's 33, which for flyweight is quite fucking old. I think they peak way younger. Like, I think lightweight, once you're like 35 and above, you're cooked. But I think under lightweight, 30, I don't know, featherweight probably 35 as well. But like bantamweight, flyweight, I think like you probably peak at like 30, 31. And so Van, you know, he's 22, young, up and coming, way better record. Johnson seemed really cocky in his last fight against Jake Hadley. Yeah, I don't really like Johnson's attitude. He acts like he's like some fucking really good, like, slept-on fighter when he's 5 wins, 5 losses. Like, get over yourself, cunt. And he has this really, like, cocky aura about him that I don't like. So I think he's going to underestimate Vance. He'll be like, oh, this guy's a kid. I'm 11 years older. I'm going to fucking use my experience to get him. He's going to have that Anthony Smith mentality. And I think it's going to be close. I think that Charles Johnson's going to come out strong, probably win round 1, and then it'll be a close round 2. Van will just squeak it out, and I think Van is going to really take over round 3, like have a very decisive round 3. So yeah, I think it's going to be close decision. I'm going to go Van by split decision. Moving on to Cody Brundage versus Abdul Razak Alhassan. So Abdul is a minus 155 favorite. Brundage was on a 3-loss streak, and in my opinion, I think the 2 wins he got were just absolute flukes back to back. I don't know I remember before his 2-fight fluke streak, I think he was going to retire, because I remember like he got beaten really embarrassingly. His coaches were fucking roasting the shit out of him, and I was like, this guy has got to fucking leave. You can tell that he's actually not that bad, but he's just mentally missing something. I don't know. So he got 2 wins back to back. He was getting absolutely fucked by Jacob Malkoon, and then he got poked in the eye, I think, and then he just took the DQ out. Not very Anthony Smith-like of him. And then he got some lucky as fuck, like slam, that I think that was the card where there was 2 slams back to back when there hasn't been a slam in years, like slam KO against Zach Reese. I think there were 2 flukes. And also, why are people impressed that he lasted 1 round against Bo Nickel? Bo Nickel is not even that good, and everyone's acting like, oh my god, he lasted 1 round. It's like they're acting like Bo Nickel's like comes out Chimaev. Like, I don't know. They're so impressed he lasted 1 round. I don't think that's that impressive to last 1 round against someone. Yeah, so I don't really think that Abdul Alhassan is even that good. I think that he is a can crusher. He can only beat cans, and once he goes up in competition, he loses. Like, once he went up in competition a little bit with Buckley, lost. Joe Pyfer up a little bit past the fucking cans, lost. So I think he's solid against can, and I think Brundage is a can. So I think Alhassan's going to TKO him at round 1. I think he's going to spark him on the feet. He'll go down, and then the ref won't stop it, and he'll ground and pound him. Moving on to Christian Rodriguez versus Julian Erosa. Yeah, so Rodriguez is coming in as the minus 210 favorite. So Rodriguez's second fight in featherweight after missing weight twice in a row at bantamweight. He looked good against Isaac Dalgarian, who I rate. I think he's a decent featherweight, especially for his first fight coming up. Yeah, I rate that win. I think Erosa is dangerous. He's a finisher and a veteran. I think he's like 38 or some shit with like fucking 50 fights or something. No, 40 fights. So yeah, he's a dangerous finisher and veteran. He poses a real threat of finishing Rodriguez, especially if Rodriguez is coming in confident, thinking, oh, this guy's fucking... I'm way better than this guy. I could see him getting KO'd, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think he might get sparked early and then just survive and come out round 2 and get a KO. I think Rodriguez by KO is going to be the decision if I was going to pick, but if I was going to put money on it, I would go Erosa by KO. It's paying, and I could see it happening. But I think if we're just going picks instead of betting, that Rodriguez is going to win. But I might put like $5-10 on Erosa by KO, because I think it might happen. Moving on. Gabriel Bonfim versus Ange Loosa. I'm just going to Google Ange Loosa. Who the fuck is that? Oh yeah, that's that pussy guy that fucking pussied out against, yeah, he pussied out against, who the fuck was it? Brian Battle, yeah. Yeah, I fucking hate this cunt. Okay, so Bonfim's coming in as a minus 400 favorite. Bonfim, submission specialist, 12 of his 15 wins by submission. I'm pretty sure he only had like 2 fights in the UFC. I remember his debut. He's pretty impressive. Yeah, Ange Loosa is the cunt that quit against Brian Battle, and then 30 seconds later he's trying to fight when apparently I was too fucked up to fight 30 seconds before. But then Brian Battle calls him a pussy, which is fair, because you could tell he just wanted a way out. Brian Battle was just like gapping him. So yeah, I think that tells me not only is he a quitter, but he can't be the nail. If he is not in the fucking driver's seat, not pushing the pace, not fucking backing people up, he hates it and he quits mentally. So I think that he might even knock Bonfim down, but on the ground, Bonfim will tie him up. He'll fucking get tied up for a few minutes. I think he'll knock him down early. He'll get tied up for a few minutes, but then he'll start realizing he's getting outplayed grappling. He won't be able to get up, and he'll quit, and then Bonfim will submit him in round 1. Moving on to Drew Dober versus John Silva. John or Gene? Jean? Okay, so my boy Drew Dober. I'm a fan of Drew Dober. I like him. It's too bad it's not like John fucking, not like a Silva, like a Anderson Silva. It's like a fucking, the other type of Brazilian where they're like, not racially motivating my boy Drew. So yeah, it's even odds. John Silva fighting for the second time in 2 weeks. He just came off the win off Charles Jourdain, which I don't think it's a good idea for him to come back in 2 weeks against a power hitter like Dober. I mean, I know he took no damage, but it's just the weight cut. He also missed weight. I saw some... I can't remember what he said. He said he like hurt his neck or something in the post-fight speech. That's why he couldn't get weight. But even you have to think he put some attempt into cutting weight. So cutting weight 2 weeks back to back, not good. He's not going to have his brain's not going to be fully hydrated. Joe Dober won't even have to fully crack him. I think if he gets even like a decent shot off, he's asleep. So yeah, I think that the only reason why John Silva has looked so dominant is because he's versed people with no power. Like when he versed Charles Jourdain, he could just back him up with absolutely no threat. No threat. He just backs him up to the thing and just toying with him. It was actually fucking sad. I like Charles Jourdain. I like his like style. Not his fight style. I don't really like his fight style. His fight style is very ineffective. I feel like you need to have some power or some... He just doesn't have any threat. He's like sold everywhere, but he doesn't stand out anywhere. Like he can't knock people out. He's not a submission threat. It's just... I don't really see him going anywhere. He needs to like sit down on his punches if he can. Maybe he just has no power, but he needs to fucking become dangerous grappling or something. I don't know. So yeah, I think that John Silva just... He does so good because he can just back people up, and if you're not going to knock him out, he'll just fucking, tank your like pitter-patter shots and just knock you the fuck out. But Drew Dober is a knockout artist. He's like one or two KOs behind Derek Lewis as the leader in the most KOs in any division. So I think, yeah, I think John Silva's going to do what he's done in his last 2 fights, just walked Drew Dober down like a fucking autist, just fucking Frankenstein zombie walk him down. I think he might even rock Dober. I think it'll be like the T-Rex fight, the Terrence McKinney fight with Dober. I think that he's going to fucking spark Dober early, but Dober's going to counter him. He's going to be like against the fence. Everyone's like, oh fuck, he's going to get knocked out, and he's going to counter him over left hook, boom. And I think he's going to knock John Silva out fucking cold. Like, I don't mind John Silva. He seems like kind of nice, but he's fucking weird, bro. Like, with that post-fight interview where he was just being zesty as fuck, and like, I don't know, he's like very serial killer vibes from that guy. So yeah, I'm going racially motivated Drew Dober by round 1 KO, countering off getting injured. Next fight, Santiago. Oh, this is the co-main. I feel like Drew Dober, John Silva should have been co-main. I mean, I guess John Silva isn't really like a fucking, isn't really good enough to co-main, but yeah. I mean, Ponzinibbio, yeah, I guess Drew Dober is a bigger star than each of these singularly, Santiago Ponzinibbio and Muslim Salikhov, but this is a better matchup, so yeah, it makes sense for this to be the co-main. So, Ponzinibbio is coming in as the -200 favorite. Salikhov is a Wushu Sanda. I think that's like some random ass martial art, some Chinese martial art. I'm pretty sure it's some kind of Chinese kung fu, because his nickname's like fucking King of Kung Fu or some shit. So I think it's like some really underground like Chinese kung fu. But I was looking up on Wikipedia. Apparently he's like one of the, like he's a legend in that. Like he's probably like the best guy. He's like the only guy to win like the international championship that's not Chinese. And I think he won it like twice. So he's like regarded as the best Wushu Sanda, like one of the best. But I mean, I don't know, who even knows what the fuck that is? It's like some random ass martial art, like that one that fucking, like, I don't know, like that Wushu. It's like just like random shit. I feel like if it's not like a established martial art like Muay Thai, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, it's just like it's not a good, like, karate and all that shit. It's not a good base. So yeah, they're both KO specialists, so I think it should be a stand-up banger. I wouldn't be surprised if they have that fucking, if you don't know now, you know, Dana White thing that happens before it. So they've both lost 3 of their last 5. And I think it's kind of a coin toss to me. But I think Ponzinibbio is the more solid striker. It seems like Muslim Salikhov, his UFC win rate is shit. I don't think his striking is very effective in martial arts. And Ponzinibbio is pretty solid. So I think I'm going to go Ponzinibbio by KO in round 2. But Ponzinibbio is a pretty heavy favorite, and I could see Salikhov winning. It's kind of a coin toss. So money-wise, I'd probably go Salikhov, but pick-wise, I'd go Ponzinibbio. Moving to the main event, Rose Namajunas versus Tracy Cortez. Bunda versus G.I.J. Okay, so Rose is the -255 favorite coming in. I think that's, yeah. So Rose is the -225 favorite coming in, which is fair to me. So Cortez is undefeated in the UFC. Despite being undefeated, I feel like I've seen a lot of stuff of her being kind of like mentally breaking, so fatigued off like what? Like she hasn't even lost in the UFC and she's still always talking about like, I'm not sure if I want to do this and stuff. I saw this Luana interview and apparently like she's only really doing it because her brother was a wrestler and she wanted to like honor him, so that's why she's doing it, because he died. And I feel like she's not really fully committed. Yeah. But then again, Rose also has some similar mental struggles. Like I saw her documentary and it doesn't really seem like she's super committed to being like the best martial artist. I think she loves fighting, but she's like, I don't know, kind of seems like she wants to like just be on a farm. Like she's always looking for a way out. When she lost her title, she took that massive break, and then I think she got like an eye injury, and she was like kind of glad to get out. But I don't know. So yeah, they both seem to be fighting through some like mental struggles, but you know, kind of cancel over that because they're both doing it. But I think that Rose is more tested in putting it behind her when she gets into the cage. I will say, I don't know why Rose is at flyweight. Like, she's the same height as Tracy Cortez, but you can just tell by like their bone structure and like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can just tell that Rose is way skinnier, and she even looks a bit tubby at 135. Like, I feel like she's definitely a 125 fighter. No, sorry, 115. She's definitely a natural strawweight rather than a flyweight. And I think Ortega is legit a flyweight. You can tell she has like a bigger bone structure, bigger, you know. But like I'm like legit, like I'm not even joking. Like I feel like Rose is not a natural flyweight. You can just tell in her physique the way she just couldn't be bothered to cut the weight. I think it's kind of like lazy. But I think Rose is definitely the better martial artist. But I could see Ortega taking her down 3 out of the 5 rounds and just, you know, she's got that top game, just lie on top of her, just threaten with really shit submissions and just do like absolutely no damage on the ground. But because Rose is kind of small for flyweight, I could see Ortega sitting on top of her 3 out of the 5 rounds and getting a really fucking boring decision. I think Rose is way more dangerous on the feet and on the ground. I think she has she has like a better submission threat than her. Oh, is my fucking flag fell. Oh, whatever. The flag's down, whatever. So yeah, no, I could see, I think Rose is more dangerous on the feet and on the ground. Better on the ground, she has more of a threat to actually end it. But I think Ortega is just bigger and she can use that weight to just hold her down, you know. So having said that, I'm still going to go Rose by decision. I think she'll keep it on the feet the whole fight and maybe get taken down 1 or 2 rounds, but she'll keep it on the feet for 3 rounds and just piece her up. And And I could also see Ortega getting her on the ground, not fucking keeping enough pressure, and then just getting submitted off the back to like a triangle or something. But I think how it's going to go is Rose is going to keep it on the feet for like 4 out of 5 rounds. And yeah, she'll just win by outstriking. But I think it'll be a decision because Ortega, she seems like she has a chin. But yeah, Rose is like the much better martial artist, but she's small for the division and it's WMA. So I don't think there's going to be a finish on the feet. There might be a submission, but yeah, I'm going to go Rose by decision. But I could, if you want to go for like min-max betting, I'd go by Ortega by decision because I don't think there's any way Ortega's going to finish her, but I could see Ortega lying on her. All right, guys, that's it. This has been Snorkel MMA. Thanks for watching, and I'll be coming in after the UFC for a recap. I'll go how many picks I got right, and I might even do like a punishment for every pick I get wrong for the next breakdown. I'll do some punishment at the start. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.